Welcome to the virtual Stab Comedy Theater. It's time for the Suzette Veneti Show. Please welcome to your screen, Suzette Veneti.
Hi, everybody. It's 5:11. I'm 8 minutes late. I'm sorry. My fault. Hashtag blame Suzette. Welcome to the Suzette Veneti Show, the only show that's hosted by me, Suzette Veneti, who's conflicted because, like, hey, 4th of July, I grew up celebrating you, but then we learned you're bad. So what's a girl to do but celebrate 4th of July because you had drag brunch on the 4th of July? Anyway, hi, welcome to the Suzette Veneti Show. I have a in-studio guest today, and he would be my co-host, but it's just me and him until we get to the forgettable last part of the show with the forgettable person. So I'm going to bring him on after the monologue, but if you hear laughter during the monologue, it's real, and I'm funny, and my in-studio guest is just go ahead and laugh into the mic if you're gonna laugh. He's yeah, thank you. He's laughing because I'm funny. Okay, here we go. You're gonna like these, sir. Bill Cosby was released from jail, and while that is atrocious enough, Felicia Richard, Claire Huxtable herself, defended the Cosby monster in a tweet. This was enough to wake up Aunt Viv. Not the light-skinned Aunt Viv. No, sir. Original Aunt Viv. Janice Hubert. She tweeted how silly Miss Richard was for supporting a raping monster like Bill Cosby. Reading the tweets felt like watching the original Aunt Viv pick up Claire Huxtable, Uncle Phil style, picking up Jazzy Jeff, and throwing her out of the house. Go, OG Aunt Viv, go. The CDC, oh, this one's good. You're going to like it. I'm going to use this in real life. The CDC said, don't poop in the pool or swim when you have diarrhea. Considering last summer when the CDC was like, hey, everybody, wear masks, and then it became super politicized, and then Republicans were like, we're not going to wear masks because they told us to. I'm just saying, don't go swimming this summer with Republicans. Jack Dylan Grazer, who recently starred in Pixar's Luca as a shape-shifting sea monster Alberto, came out as bisexual this week, exclaiming, Silencio, Bruno, the rallying cry in the movie, for quieting the nagging voice in your head. No joke, just Silencio, Bruno. The Las Vegas Raiders defensive end Carl Nassib came out as openly gay last week, making him the first openly gay NFL player. Maybe? Some people are saying that Michael Sam was the first openly gay NFL player. Some people are saying that Nassib plays for the Raiders and the Raiders are gay. Some people are saying that's a homophobic joke. But we all know the homophobic joke is Mike Pence. I was going to tell that one last week in public, but I was like, nah, I don't think they'll get it. A group of 11 men are in custody in Massachusetts after refusing to acknowledge that they have to follow the laws of the United States. They were wandering around the forest in Massachusetts with automatic weapons. They were white, so they were just taken into custody. Oh, you laughed too early. It's funnier when they were just taken into custody. Because they were white.
It's just funny that they were white.
Yeah, they were white.
Everybody else, no.
They got away with it.
Well, nobody else would do that.
No, only white people. Ohio Police Chief Anthony Campo retired Tuesday after 33 years on the job because he was caught on camera going to a black officer's desk, grabbing the black officer's rain jacket, arranging the jacket into the shape of a KKK hood, and placing a note on the rain jacket that read KKK. Campo retired but tried to explain that this was all just a joke. And you see, that's why comedy should be left to professionals, because what the fuck? There was no punchline. There was no setup. Also, it's just an extremely weird thing to do for a police chief to do to his black officer. Campo said he didn't understand the big deal. He's made jokes like this to his subordinate officer before, since he hired him. And the subordinate officer, black, never once expressed concern to his abusive police officer superior for extremely upsetting racist behavior. Go figure. Mayor Dennis Bring decided the most appropriate way to express his disapproval was to let the guy retire. I was just supposed to stop. I wasn't supposed to bring in the mayor. Wrote a whole punchline. Tired. Sorry. It was a good joke before we got there. In local news, 2 people were arrested Friday in Rancho Cordova in connection with the theft of a car from a car dealership last month. Police were going to take them into custody, but then they realized by taking the car, these people were stuck in Rancho Cordova and said, fair punishment. Staying local, 2 Elk Grove Unified School District employees are on administrative leave after a Confederate flag was found hanging in their district van. Superintendent Ronnie Shorswath said, yeah, they're idiots, and we're going to fire them, not only for flying a racist, hurtful paraphernalia, but from a van. Seriously, if you're going to fly a racist flag, do it the regular way from a truck. Jumping to Olympic news, but staying in the theme of racism sucks. Sha'Carri Richardson was suspended for 1 month after testing positive for marijuana. The USOC acknowledged that weed won't make you run faster, but admitted that they were really just upset that Richardson didn't offer them any of that really, really good Oregon weed. That's why they suspended her. Soul Cap, a swim cap made for natural voluminous hair, read black people hair, was banned from the Olympics this week. When reached for comment, Jacques Papique, the International Olympic Committee chair, was quoted as saying, yeah, it's not fair, but look, white people need to have something we're good at, and curling is only a winter sport. That's good too. Jumping to international news, the Vatican indicted 10 people, including a cardinal, for financial scandal, which is like, Vatican, if you're going to start punishing people for wrongdoing, maybe don't start with financial scandals? Staying with the Vatican, Pope Francis underwent surgery at a Roman hospital earlier today on his large intestine, apparently stomaching the fact that the Catholic Church is full of creepy, rapey, pedophilic priests does not sit well with one's stomach. Speaking of not sitting well with one's stomach, a living fossil made of pig snouts was discovered in the South Pacific. And that's as far as I read into that headline, because I was already grossed out. So if you want to know more, you're going to have to Google it yourself, because I don't even know what that means.
Did you say a living fossil?
Living pig snouts.
I don't even understand.
Not chitlins.
Okay.
Pig snouts. But it's a living fossil. Yeah, I don't know. You can Google it.
Okay.
Yeah. Congrats to my Lord and Savior Fran Drescher, who's going to be the president of SAG-AFTRA, which is the Screen Actors Guild. That's not a joke, just a mazel to a mensch of a woman. And also, video of a gorilla in Disney's Animal Kingdom was being surprised by a snake went viral. But yeah, dude, snakes are scary. Duh. Okay, and that's the monologue. And with that, I'm going to bring on my in-studio guest. Ladies and gentlemen, the guest that I have today is one of my greatest friends, and also hosts a show called Diversity and Dragons, and does stand-up comedy. Still? Do stand-up? Yeah, do stand-up comedy. And I was a shitty host and forgot to get your socials, so we'll get that just as we get into this. Please welcome to the show, Teo Morgan.
Hey, how you doing? I mean, you're not supposed to say that. By the way, if you ever do stand-up, don't say that. It's so generic, but I just did it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done it. But yeah, I don't really do stand-up actively for various reasons, but I'm going to start doing mics again for sure, because I have to.
It's a weird way to say hello.
Yeah. I'm sorry if you don't. I feel like I'm at an open mic right now, just like trying to field material.
You're not.
Yeah.
Just go with it.
Just go with it.
Yeah, just relax, open up, and if something feels forced, just breathe.
Okay.
Yeah. There it is.
Make it through this.
What's your Instagram?
My Instagram. Let's start with the website.
No. We're gonna put your Instagram below you.
Oh, you are. It is big_black_dice.
Big_black_dice.
That's right.
Okay. Your PayPal or your Venmo? Sorry.
Oh, my Venmo is. I think it is
not
big
used
black
often.
Dice. I don't use. I'm more of a Cash App guy. Don't make it racial, but I think it is. Let me see here.
I think we can put up your Cash App if you want.
Okay, yeah, my Venmo is at Big Black Dice. Yeah.
At Big Black Dice.
Yeah.
No underscores.
No underscores.
Okay, cool. All right, so Teo, how you doing?
Yeah, I've been better, but hey, let's not talk about me.
What?
Let's talk about my show. I do a show.
Yeah, we could talk about your show, but we got to establish who you are.
I am Teo Morgan, and I do a show. I do this show. I've been doing okay, though. Let me say, I've delved way back into the underbelly of role-playing games, which is like one of my passions besides comedy. There's just been all kinds of weird shit going on with like old school gamers in particular that had me. I just decided to just stand back and let white people do white people kind of thing. I had
wander the forest with automatic weapons.
Basically, that's kind of what it was like. Basically, a long time ago, the one of the co-authors of Dungeons and Dragons named Gary Gygax, he started a company, TSR. It was to market Dungeons and Dragons, which was actually the brainchild of Dave Arneson and Gary Gygax. I'm sorry for being so way back, but anyway.
Who are those people?
Oh my God, you don't know? Okay, yeah. So no. Dave Arneson and particularly Gary Gygax, because he has the cooler name.
That sounds like you made it up.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, Gygax is really, it sticks in your head once it gets in there, and.
Sounds like you have something stuck in your throat.
Yeah, Gygax. Yeah. So he invented Dungeons and Dragons, basically, according to the lore. But
invented or discovered?
Kind of discovered if you really dig into it.
Right.
If you really dig into it, Dave Arneson.
Because it was there. It just is a living organism.
Yeah, they started out with war games. He and Dave Arneson met at a wargaming convention in Geneva, Wisconsin, and. But as time went on, Dave Arneson was like, hey, I got an idea about why don't we, instead of have armies, why don't we have rules for individual combat, and individuals experiencing stuff. And then, he ran Gary Gygax through this. And this is just what I've gathered from all the resources I've read. And then they went to another guy's doing something very similar. I forget that guy. Dave Wesley, I think his name is, I found. And they kind of appropriated stuff from his game and then, packaged it, sold it as TSR, and the brand of that game that they packaged, Dungeons and Dragons. And so there's this huge legacy. Dungeons and Dragons has traded hands from Wizards of the Coast, who owned the Pokemon card game. They bought Dungeons and Dragons from TSR. And then later, Wizards of the Coast was purchased by Hasbro. So, but Dungeons and Dragons is the game that everybody knows for role-playing games, right? And but Ernie Gygax, which is one of Gary Gygax's sons, he decided to, because another guy got the trademark for TSR, and that guy's releasing another game, so we don't need to go into that. His name's Jason Elliott. He's a pretty cool guy. Talk to him on the internet sometimes, but he releases another game called Top Secret. That's an espionage game. It's not about elves and shit. It's about, it's more like James Bond or something like that. And a man from U.N.C.L.E. or whatever that was. And so that guy had that trademark registered, and he's doing business under that name, TSR Games. But he let it lapse. He let the register lapse. So then in swoops Ernie Gygax, pays the registration fee. Now it's registered to him, and this other dude. Justin Lanassa, who's all over the internet. They're both all over talking about how, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, that there's inclusivity statements and, their defense of trans rights, gay rights, all the stuff that this, and an endorsement of basically Black Lives Matter. All this shit is just bullshit. It's woke America.
Performative.
It's performative. Yeah, which is probably true. To be honest, if you look at the board of Hasbro, I'm sure it's probably not staffed with Antifa. But it's like there's probably some truth to that is performative, but it's also just fucking good business, right? Anybody, if you're selling fucking sandwiches, you're not gonna want to have a sign out front that says you're not welcome here if you.
Okay, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Wasn't the question how are you?
Yeah, that's how I am. So this is an analogy. Hang on.
This is a lot of people that aren't you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I don't really want to talk about how I am, so that's
okay.
It's
all
deflection.
Right.
That's
all
what
right.
we're doing.
All right, fair. We'll deflect. We'll deflect.
So we're getting there. So that
all right.
I've been just watching this. Okay, and there's people all these people are coming out of the woodwork to defend these old guys because he does an interview where he basically talks shit about all these different things and says he's going to start the gaming company up again. It's going to be a place that's safe. He's creating a safe space.
Hold on, reference your pronoun. Who's he?
He. Ernie Gygax. And
okay.
And he's making a safe space for older gamers and people that have silly ideas.
Older gamers or more original gamers?
Original gamers.
So not
but they
not
happen to be,
octogenarian gamers.
Some of them are. Yeah,
for sure. But
we're
just talking original or gamers.
They're closer to the grave than
And that's what you mean by older. You don't mean people who have been gaming longer. You mean literally old people.
Most of them are older because they were around back in the day.
If a new older person started, they wouldn't fit into what you're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, they could still have the same kind of attitude, I guess. But they'd be playing probably Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition, which is the Hasbro edition. Most likely that this group of people would be considered OSR or old school revival, and it's always been kind of a scary space for some of us because if you like older games, which I do because of their simplicity, they tend to be more simple. But it's kind of weird when you get in on the forums and in the comment sections of these things because most of them it's not like everybody there is anti-trans, anti-gay, or anti-black or whatever, but they all don't want to talk about it. And if you try to talk about it, they're anti-that.
They're anti-talking about it.
Yeah, they don't want to talk. They don't want people to talk. And then it can be like that with older gamers too at the gaming table. Like if you were to be like, hey, I was out there, if I mentioned my life, if I said, I went out with, my girls and, my ex-wife and blah, 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 they'd be fine with that because that's all heteronormative. But if I said, if I went out with my partner and, my adopted kids from and it's so hard because blah, blah.
They're anti-adoption?
No, well, they might be. I'm just saying that they would have a hard time.
if you had a partner and you had to adopt because your partner, if you were gay and you had a man partner.
Yeah, because these people tend to.
Or if you were I played with a drag princess friend of mine.
Yeah, that would be difficult. Yes,
oh.
Perhaps be difficult. They'd be, what do you mean
I'm sorry, who doesn't like Suzette Veneti?
Yeah.
I don't trust them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but.
So to summate kind of really quick. So you're saying that the gaming.
Hey, wait. Let me be clear.
Okay.
Am I taking up too much time with the story?
No,
Okay.
It's hard to follow a little bit.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to make sure we're on the same.
Well,
track.
what I was coming around to is it makes the relevance of my show, Diversity and Dragons, that much more significant.
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So you run a show, Diversity and Dragons, and you're a black man.
I don't know if people could tell, but yes, my father's black.
Okay, you're a mixed man.
Yes.
And
I prefer black because the white doesn't matter if you've got any black in there. That's how the rules work.
There's the one.
I mean, people can still
rule,
poke fun at you, but
there's the paper bag. Yeah, all these antiquated rules.
Yeah, the Constitution still says I'm not really a person. So
does it?
Yeah, it does.
How much of a
the
person
original
are you?
Constitution? They had to amend it to make us people, but it's still in the original.
It's always going to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always going to say it. Yeah.
Because that's what amendments are for.
Yeah.
I've seen that episode of the singing bill. What is that?
Oh, Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't mention that though, right? It didn't say.
No, that's heavy for kids.
Yeah.
To be like, this person's not a person because the color of his skin.
Yeah.
That's not me saying that. That's a racist person.
Yeah.
People take clips of things.
You were just role playing.
No, I was just quoting a racist cartoon. So okay, you run Diversity and Dragons, which is a show, and you're a black man, and this is a show for what at one point we would have said nerdy people, but right now nerdcore is kind of common culture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
So you're bringing your, I don't want to say heritage of nerddom, but you're bringing a hobby that you enjoyed growing up, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
As a black man to other people that are not white, right? Diversity, like you and white people.
Yeah, well, I guess the intention of it is to just, because the way it started, I was just doing a bit in a geek show, and it went over big, and then Dejan Tyler was on the same show doing stand-up, and he expected me to be doing stand-up, but that's what I did instead, and then Emma Haney was also on the same show, and when I met him in the green room afterwards, they were like, can we do that, And first it was Dejan, and then he's like, do you think they'd let us call it Niggas and Dragons? And then I was like, no, I don't think they're going to put that on the marquee, man. I don't think they'll let us do that.
I'm also not going to repeat that, yeah.
Yeah, it's probably better you don't.
How would people say that? How would a white person say that if that was the name of the show?
Well, that's another complication. So that's why Diversity in Dragons, because of the first thing in my head was like, well, usually when people speak about diversity, they mean niggas have moved in. That's what they mean. We moved in. That's what they mean.
With attitude?
Yeah, diversity with attitude. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Emma came in like right afterwards, and she was like,
that word doesn't apply to her.
I've always wanted to play, that. And then I was like, are you like Dejan and you never got to play because you didn't know anybody?
Is she a black man?
No. I meant in that he never got to play because he didn't know anybody.
Right.
He loved Harry Potter. He loved Lord of the Rings. He loved all that stuff. But where he was living, nobody was playing it. And then Emma was like, no, I'm not like that. I knew tons of people that played Dungeons and Dragons, but they were all creepy. So she just didn't feel comfortable. So then that's how that got started. And then I invited Jason Barger as well, who's old school comedy homie. And then I used to joke that is because I needed somebody who was as Latino as I look, because he's half Puerto Rican. But yeah, that's kind of how it got started. And then it kind of evolved into more like I as Jason and Dejan had to fade out, I brought in more improvisers because there's a lot of focus on story and emergent story in role-playing games, and so that just seemed like a natural step. So now it's like Ruben Acosta, Emma Haney, and Betsaida LeBron are on the lineup as my players, and then I run that. And then we got a show coming up on July 29th, and if you go to bigblackdice.com, there's tickets there. But that's how I am. That's where my whole brain is stuck on that right now. Because my real life is a mess.
Well, we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's a campaign all to itself. And hopefully, the dice fall in good ways for you going forward in your life. But Diversity in Dragons, July 29th. And I want to say, selfishly, like when you phased out a couple people before you got to your cast, you had a very spectacular drag princess.
Yes, we did.
And it's too bad that you haven't needed me again. What's really interesting,
that could happen.
It could. And I know a couple other drag performers that are like, hey, didn't you say something about this show once? Because I talked to a couple people to find out if they do it for you. And then it's in the name, Teo.
Yeah, right.
It's in the abbreviation, Dive and Drag.
Well, I changed it. My new handle is Big Black Dice. I don't use Dive and Drag anymore.
I don't know if any drag queens have Big Black Dice.
It's a couple, yeah.
I mean, I don't know many that do. I know a couple, but at least the ones I talked to do not have the Big Black Dice already. You'd have to provide.
Right. Well, one of the things about Big Black Dice is if you look at it, and you change the last letter, it's something else.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's why I said I think so too.
I mean, but it's also without changing the letter. It's a metaphor for something else.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a triple entendre, kind of like it only hidden. But so I have toyed with 4 people on stage, and that's rough. So yeah, but if somebody can't show up in the future, I would be happy to have another drag princess drop in, and maybe reprise the role of what you were a swamp attorney, a ghostly swamp attorney, right?
Yeah.
Is that?
I think a water. I don't think it was swamp.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
a water elemental
Right.
attorney. Yeah.
Yeah, but thanks for putting me in a swamp.
Yeah.
I don't smell. I just want to. I don't know why we were just in a swamp. I'm not Shrek, but yeah. Okay, so you run this show, which is for people who didn't get to play Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, it's not. It's for anybody. I want to be clear.
A lot of I'll say this: the fan base is kind of split between people who probably don't have time to play or used to play and have a lot of nostalgia. People that might have played and then didn't feel welcome because of the culture, of the gaming community at the time was, not friendly towards them for being different. So that's
like having adopted kids.
Yeah.
How dare you?
Yeah. Yeah, or just not. Like I'm saying, you notice these things when you're at the table. Like the one of the like at a role playing game. One time I was at a game and the guy directly across the table from me, he was hosting the game, and he got up because somebody knocked at the door. It was his house. He gets up, and then everybody at the table is like, "Oh, who was it?" And then he's all, "I was just some nigger." And he said that, yeah.
He was a white man?
This was a white man, yes. And a guy I thought was my friend, and I thought, and then I was like, okay, like, I guess I'll go. See you later,
He would have had no problem calling it what DeJan wanted to call it.
Yeah. Well, that's a different word.
I mean,
Those
he would
are
have had
two
a problem
different...
with it, right? Because he'd have been like, this show shouldn't exist. But he would have said the title of that show without hesitation.
Well, he would have said it wrong, though. Because if we had that, it would be N-word with an A. I'm sorry, I've said it twice now, and I'm feeling self-conscious.
So the hard R argument.
Especially that. Yeah, you never say that. There's no reason, only black people raised by white people say it that way. There's no reason to say the ER at the end unless you're telling the story about
black
somebody
people raised by white people.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, and I'm sorry, two black people that were raised by white people. I'm not. My mom is white or Irish.
She
American.
was. What is she now?
She's pink. She's turned pink over time. Pink. Yeah, she just that she doesn't react well with the sun anymore. Her hair's gone like kind of weird. I don't know. It's like a weird white. It's like off-white because she smokes, so it absorbs. It's almost blonde. Anyway,
it's like a eggshell.
Kind of, yeah. Ecru, maybe is that is that a color?
What color is that?
Yeah.
Ecru.
Ecru. I think it's ECRU. It's the color of some people's teeth.
Oh.
Yeah.
She has teeth hair.
Teeth-colored hair. Yeah.
Ecru.
Knock it off, Mom, if you're watching. Stop smoking.
I'm just getting
indoors.
Ecru. Ecru color. How do you spell that?
ECRU.
Oh, okay. I did ECRU. REW.
Yeah, it's a real color.
ECRU. No, I believe you. Oh, okay. Yeah. So that is like a beigey eggshell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, eggshell.
Ecru. Got it. So first of all, I want to applaud you for doing this show. I think it's great to bring as another producer who enjoys bringing content to people that necessarily don't get this content automatically.
No.
I want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Just on behalf of the people that get to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And as a drag princess, maybe I guess if I wanted to play, I'd be excluded by some of these less inviting older white men.
Yeah, they could make you feel uncomfortable. Yeah, they can definitely make you feel uncomfortable.
I like to make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I think I'm good at that.
Yeah, well, that's the hard part, and that's why I understand why they don't want people that are different at their table, because if they have bad, if I say, something about my life that's just normal to me, but to them all they can think about is Obama was born in Kenya, it's uncomfortable,
But he wasn't.
I know, but that's as soon as they find out, or police lives matter, as soon as I say, hey guys, yeah, by the way, my father was black,
no matter
and
what
then they
you say,
immediately
they just
go
hear,
to they immediately go to George Floyd deserved it, and I'm like, what the fuck does that have to do? You don't have to talk either, you know what I'm saying? You can keep all that shit in you. Like, I'm just telling you what's true about my lived experience. You're telling me your fucking opinions about shit I didn't even ask for. You know.
So the gaming community is full of problematic people.
It's not full of them, but they're
includes
loud.
problematic.
Yeah, they're loud, and I think because the gaming community historically has been full of people that because let's face it, Dungeons and Dragons was not really popular. You know, it's not like all the cool kids at school are playing D&D. It was usually the fringe kids, and that's shifting because D&D is now, you know, like they've got celebrities on shows doing it, and so it's really shifted. And some of those people are kind of mad. They don't like. It's like, you know, when somebody's like, you know, I'm the first people that heard the Foo Fighters. You know, it's like, you know, like that same kind of attitude, you know, or whatever. You know, nobody understands Run DMC the way I do. That was a really old callback, wasn't it? Damn. But like,
I mean, Foo Fighters wasn't much newer.
yeah,
so.
no, it's not new at all. But I honestly don't listen to too much newer rock that's anybody would know. So that's about it. But you know what I'm saying? Like that it's when somebody says that, like they're the true fan, and then the new people are not. And it's like, I'm the opposite. I'm like, hey man, the more people that play role-playing games, the better, because that means there's going to be more people that I could play with that aren't going to get all upset, you know, and tell me about, you know, and like if I walk in, they just are like, well, the reason I voted for Trump is, I don't care, dude. I also want to just come, you know, be doing imaginary stuff, you know, but the other issue is that in games there are problematic concepts, like in Dungeons & Dragons itself. One of the key things is race. And that's actually some people don't like. They're like, why don't we make a species? Why don't we make something else? For a long time, Dungeons and Dragons had a clear delineation between, you know, you know, when you're rolling up your statistics, that female characters had a limit, you know, to what they could do, and then that kind of would lead to, you know, limit. And it's like, well, fucking Xena Warrior Princess, you never fucking find out, you know, she doesn't seem to have a limit.
There was a glass ceiling in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, they built it in. It used to be that, you know, in AD&D and Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, first edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, there used to be a cap. I can't remember where they peeled it off, but
that does not sound advanced.
You know, no, it's not advanced socially at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, then there's a lot of arguments about why, you know, like anytime somebody tries to say, well, maybe the fiction of the game could be written to be more inclusive in and of itself. These are problematic issues. Like there used to be a book called Oriental Adventures that they wrote a long time ago. And, you know, it's basically an entire book written by white dudes appropriating stuff from, you know, Japanese, Chinese, you know, Korean cultures to be used in the game, and it's all written for. But not one. I don't recall there being an Asian author, and so now people will talk and they'll be like, "Stop being so fucking woke," you know, or whatever. And it's like, why not just take that information and use it to author a new book that's updated? Maybe hire some people that are experts on Asian culture that are fucking Asian, you know, and you know, maybe call it something else, you know, instead of like defend the old thing. You can honestly say that old thing had some stuff I like in it. It has a shitty name, and it's kind of crappy that they didn't do that, and still, then it just promotes, you know, it's just an opportunity to have new content. You know what I mean? Like,
okay, so your show,
my show.
For everybody to watch.
Yes.
Your panel generally includes people that are diverse.
Yes.
And not straight white.
Right.
Have you had a straight white person on your show?
Yeah, I mean, well, I think like, you know, like this is I you know, my mom's family is Irish American, right. So
but
I think I'm white enough, honestly. Like that's about as
no, and I'm not. I'm not. Look, I've only
then
had
Emma. Oh wait, I'm straight. I am straight. Betsaida is straight, and Ruben is straight.
Right, but none of you are white.
Emma is white.
Emma's white, but she's not straight.
But she's not straight. And
actually, they're not straight. I just had Emma on last week.
Oh, they're not straight?
Yeah, Emma
I'm so sorry.
Is non-binary. No, me too.
I didn't know this.
We you know, hopefully she's forgiving of us and lets us learn this.
Emma, I'm very sorry.
So they're not straight. So no, and this, I'm not saying this is a bad thing. In my show, Queens of Comedy, we talk about it on this show quite a bit. I've only had one straight white man comedian.
Okay.
In like 16 shows. So I'm not.
Well, and you get a lot of flack for that, right? Don't you? Do you get flack for not booking?
no one's ever given me flack for that, like outright. I'm sure if I booked more straight white guys, then straight white guys wouldn't have a problem with my show.
Right.
But I've only booked one, so and people do have a problem with me and my show on occasion.
But here's a question I have too, because like, obviously you can't tell Emma's gender identity or her sexual preference by looking at her. But it kind of makes me wonder, like, oh yeah, and also people think I'm Latino, so if I don't explain anything in the show, like in the show, which I don't always, then I'm sure, people might not realize, oh, there's some European DNA on the stage already, through all of them, But I guess what I'm trying to get at is, do people ever like have a problem because they assume a performer that you put on is not LGBT,
yes.
Because they didn't say it so in their set?
Yes,
Yeah.
and then it becomes an awkward issue of where people are like, actually, you were in a show that got canceled because I was told it had no queer performers.
I remember that show being canceled.
Yeah, which is ridiculous because it had drag queens.
Yeah.
And they were all queer. Just, in case anyone was like, but were they queer? But it's not my job. Like, if someone discloses their orientation to me, or if I know someone's orientation and I book them, it's not my job to share that orientation with other people who want to gatekeep who can and can't be in my show. And that's what happened on that particular show. And we don't need to go into it and name names, but somebody was offended that I didn't have queer performers, which was absurdly false. And it wasn't my job to out the performers in the show.
Yeah.
I did have queer performers, both comedians and drag queens. And it's not, and job is the wrong word. It's not my right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's really, I think each performer's, and also, I'm a big fan of sexuality, gender fluidity, all that stuff. Like when I heard that, like it didn't bother me at all. Some people are like, gender's fluid, there's only two. And I was like, man, there's like all kinds of gradations of gender. If you consider what gender is, just these two roles, that women do this and men do this. There's all kinds of gradations in between. And maybe it's because I was raised by, my mom primarily, and I had to see her kind of take on
pink skin, tooth-haired mom. I want a 5-year-old.
Brown hair. I'm sorry, Mom. I did dirt on my mom right here.
You did your mom dirty.
I did.
I want to see a 5-year-old draw your mom based off that description.
Yeah, it's just I just want her to smoke, stop smoking. That's all it is. Just want my mom to be around longer. But she took on a lot of roles that normally a man would do, and when she was doing that, a lot of men would give her a hard time or whatever, because but it's weird because I don't really, of course my mom's not going to be of the mind of like, oh, well, I'm gender fluid because I like some man, stuff that's entitled only to men in this culture and blah, blah. But it just clicked with me. I was like, yeah, gender fluidity, why not? I mean, why not? Just and especially for kids, man, I like, just let kids shouldn't even be thinking about it. They should just do what they like, find out who they are. And I also think sexual fluidity, there's that joke that I saw on TikTok or something like that. It's probably a street joke, but it's like, I do a little of this, do a little of this, do a little of this, but if I suck one dick, I'm gay, But it's like, I do feel like if people want to explore with that, I don't think you should have to switch. You know what I mean? Like, I know what's that other thing called? Like people are kind of suspect about bisexuality or whatnot.
Oh yeah, there's bi erasure.
People expect there to be a team picked or something like that.
Well, so people don't believe that bi exists, and that's one battle that a lot of my bi friends face is like, oh, you're not serious, like you just haven't found the right dick or the right vagina or right. Like you're being greedy is another thing a lot of my bi friends get. Bisexuality actually is a spectrum unto itself.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily 50-50, and then there's bi erasure because the pansexual movement that happens, there's a lot of pan people that are pan now.
So I'm a little bit ignorant of pansexual. Pansexual, my understanding, is people that are attracted to all kinds of different people, regardless of age, gender, sexual identity.
So yeah,
Right. They basically say I'm not going to discriminate on any
right.
criteria.
I fall in love with the person, not the type of person or something.
Right.
I don't want to misquote it, and I don't mean something like that in a disrespectful manner. But I'm not pan myself, so I can't and shouldn't explain it since I don't necessarily understand it.
Right.
At least how to explain it. But yes, I'm gonna fall. I'm attracted to the person, essentially.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say that if you're not pan, you're not attracted to a person, but like I'm not going to let other things stand in my way, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it sounds like your mom got in trouble with the same guys who were doing original gaming. You know, they don't talk about your same-sex partner and your adopted children, and they look at your mom and they're like, don't do man's duties.
Yeah, well, I think what it is that I think anything, whether it's racial, gender-wise, sexuality, I feel like people like systems that make it easy to think about things, whether or not those systems represent reality. They'd rather think about that system that makes things black and white, and just they only have to think about one or two things, you know, whatever system that is, like republicanism versus Democrats, you know, man versus woman, gay versus straight, black versus white, all that's a lot easier for people to think about. But if you that's why there's people are tripping, the alphabet people, you know, like LGBTQR, you know, and they, you know, I just said R. I'm sorry. Even I'm like trying to do it.
LGBTQIAA.
Yeah, I like quilt bag because
I like quilt bag too.
Yeah, quilt bag is easy for me to remember all the
Right.
letters and I can spell it. But yeah, quilt bag contains all of the letters that I'm aware of. Although I do know there's a 2 in it now for two-spirited people.
Right. So,
Yeah.
but that's specifically Native Americans.
Yeah.
But just for the viewers and uninformed, quilt bag is queer, undecided,
That's right.
intersex, lesbian, trans.
Bi.
Thank you. I forgot which letter was on. Asexual and gay. Quilt bag is a recognized acronym for the queer community.
Yeah, it's my favorite. There's actually a magic item in Diversity and Dragons that is a quilt bag.
I have a quilt bag.
You have one?
Yeah, I have a quilt bag. I love that acronym.
Yeah, but I feel like you know, people, when the letters started amassing, then that's when people started making fun of it, because they're like, once it got past 4 letters, they're like, oh my God, that's too much to remember. You know, it doesn't matter if this is reality. This is reality that we're trying to map with this acronym, right? But they don't care. They just like, I don't want to have to think about it.
So they don't want it in their reality, and they don't want it in their fake reality in Dungeons and Dragons. They just don't want it anywhere.
Well, the strange thing is that what you're thinking about, man, only woman, only, you know, only straight, and then whatever else is bad, that's fake reality. You know what I mean? That's the fake reality. And so that's in their head, though. That's how they look at the world. They look at it like that. And even though all these other people exist, much like these gamers that think there should only be one way of playing a game, you know, these people think everybody else is playing it wrong. They're having wrong kind of fun. It's bad, you know. So like, yeah, I mean that there is that analogy there. But I just I want to rewind on something that I had an idea, and it's weird for me to say this, but because I did it, but like I've only been with, you know, I've only been with a particular type of person sexually, and I generally attracted to a particular gender and sexual identity, and I don't want to get into my type and all that, but that's true too. But like,
we all have types.
Yeah,
you know? I mean, unless I would say even pansexual people have a type, probably.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, but it's strange to me, though. Even though I've done that, it's strange to me that people think that it would be like if somebody else wants to go check out everything else, good on them. Like I don't have it in me to do that, but you know, it seems like it makes rational sense. Like it's hard to find somebody to be in love with, you know, like, so the more options you have, you know.
You're telling me.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, if I was attracted to octogenarians, and you know, and I'm not saying, hey, maybe I just haven't found the right octogenarian, you know, but that's what I would say is, like, if you're saying, you know, you just haven't found the right dick or whatever, this, and that's, you know, you're confused or you're being greedy or whatever. It's like, well, you know, you could pitch back that, well, if you're pan or whatever, maybe you haven't found the right whatever. Maybe you should get out there and try it.
So it sounds like tolerance of others.
Yeah, well, just it really I don't understand why it bothers people so much, but it really does, man. Especially in the old school gamers. They're I'm really happy though. There's a group that started online that they had OSR, old school revival, with a rainbow thing, and that group has been really welcoming and inclusive. But it's I think some of the people that are in the administrative staff of that group are I guess on the right side of history or whatever, and not. But in other groups, like when I tested, because I test marketed my shows, and just the word diversity, just that word was infuriating. And when just me posting, how do you feel about the word diversity? That post got taken down in like 9 out of 10
Where?
groups. On Facebook. I was kind of doing test marketing on Facebook to see how that word would react. And at first I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't use that name. But then one of my homies was like, no, you should use that name so those people don't come. And that it's worked out so far. Usually those people, and I hate to say that, but they don't come. I haven't had any trouble.
But the show's not for them. I mean, that's the point, right? Like, they have all the rest of Dungeons and Dragons for them.
Yeah, well, I would welcome. If
No,
one of
you
them
would.
wants to
I mean,
show
it's
up, as long as they don't.
It's not for them,
Yeah.
right? It's not. They're welcome. It's for everyone. Your show, and to be clear, Teo's show is for everyone to enjoy. You're not exclusory in who can enjoy your show.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, the people that are anti your show existing don't need your show, because the rest of the structure of what they do in the gaming world is basically set up for them.
Well, and the trip is that those people would probably say, we're not against your show existing. We're just mad that it exists. Like we're fine with you playing and Betsaida playing and Emma and Ruben. We're fine with all of you playing. Just how dare you all play together and not include us? And it's like, well, what, I can play a game with you after if you want, or whatever. But the purpose of this is to like demonstrate,
So it's BET.
Yeah.
It's black churches. It's like, where's my white entertainment television? Well, CNN and Fox and part the rest of the TV.
Part of the reason I think too that I found, like, through doing improv because I've done improv with exclusively people of color in a couple workshops that were put on by Justine Lopez and Betsaida LeBron. It's interesting to be in a group of just people. Everybody in there is a person of color, and so what you start finding out is that, like, if the girl who's like Indian American, if she wants to like line step on her own, if she wants to do a joke about Indians, then fine. If the Native American girl in there wants to do a joke based on stereotypes of natives, she will do that, and then fine. And if there's a black person in there, they want to line step, they could do that. But then what you find out amongst those improvisers is that we all kind of intuitively don't line step back. We don't step over their line, we step over our own line.
Could you define line step?
I mean, like, that there's something like there'd be a joke like you can't say the N-word, right?
Correct.
In improv, if I was on stage and I was oddly only among people of color, I might say the N-word the right way, not the wrong one, not the ER way, but the A way, with the A, not the ER. I might say it like if I was doing a character, because I grew up with people in my family saying it, and I've been called it numerous times, so I know exactly how it is said in certain circumstances. So I might say it, like as if I'm doing a character. I mean, it might be like, "Yo, man, what's up with these out here? They crazy, like," and so I might do that character. But then the other people there that aren't, even other black people that aren't necessarily comfortable doing that would intuitively know I'm not going to cross that line, because I can't even do that,
So line stepping is not an improv term. No,
that's my own term for this phenomena. It's something that I just recently came up with, because I was like, why is it like in that group? Like, but if what happens in a space that's integrated with people that are predominantly white is now all of a sudden you can't do that. You can't step over your own line in improv with those people, because some of them will step right back. They're going to step over it. They're going to use it as
concern.
a license.
Okay. So I thought the concern was they were going to call you on not doing it.
Well, the other thing is that will be that don't do that. It's making everybody uncomfortable, or whatever.
Very interesting, because I got a shirt from Rainbow actually that looks like a Chinese food takeout box. It says "Thank you, enjoy," and it has that stereotypical like pagoda on it. And I took it out of my suitcase today at brunch, and everyone was like, "No," and I was like, but it's cute and it's looks like Chinese food. It's not Chinese culture,
right?
Like it looks like. And then I asked a couple friends that came to brunch, and people are very, very. It's very, very polarizing, because some people are like, no, you can't do that at all, and then some people are like, yeah, but Chinese food isn't Chinese. Like,
yeah,
Chinese American food is not. So you're fine because you're referencing American culture. And then one person was like, you kind of get away with stuff. So everyone's split. But I mean, that's what I thought you were concerned about, was people kind of policing you, like white people policing you on how to be black. But you're saying you're more concerned about like accidentally authorizing people to step on your line.
There's multiple reasons, because that's true as well. Some people feel like that. I've had an argument with stand-up about that, like the N-word, like it's a part of my life, you know what I mean? So if I'm going to do stand-up, I'm probably going to say it, because I don't want to, like if I'm doing a character I grew up, like somebody based on somebody I grew up with or whatever, I want to be that character, and so for me, but I had to wrestle with it, because it's like, well, if I say it and I look ambiguous, even if you're not ambiguous, there's even performers that aren't ambiguous at all, and they find that if they say it, that because of the audience being white, their only way of seeing that word is just bad, whether they say it or not. If they don't say it, if they lean more to the left and they don't say it, it's always bad, no matter how it's said, and it's terrible.
No matter who says it.
Yeah, and it's terrible that you guys had to adapt to it, and accept that it's a thing. That's one side, and then the other side is like, which is weird. If I'm performing in front of more conservative people, usually they're more like, finally somebody's saying it. I don't know what it is, but I will say that like it happens in stand-up too, where you might get up and do a set that's well crafted, and that's a word, right? Well crafted and based upon your experience as a black person, or maybe as a gay person, and you use the slurs that are used against you in a comedic way, and then you get another comedian who's not, I don't know, I don't like the term woke really. I do, because it has
you
history.
Like the concept of woke, but you don't like woke.
Yeah, I don't want to say that somebody's woke or not woke. I mean, that's like, you should try to be woke. You know what I mean? Don't talk about it. Just try to be woke.
My only thing with woke is like, what if you were never asleep?
I think everybody's kind of asleep, because we're raised in this culture. You know what I
mean?
We're
raised in a sleeping culture.
Yeah, in this culture we value being asleep.
Okay.
I mean, so you have to like try. But I guess my point is that the next comic that comes up, or comics down the line, sometimes, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but they step over the line because they saw somebody, earlier that used the N-word or a slur for, LGBT people or whatever.
So a white comic comes along in the open mic. And
you've gone white up, dude,
right?
Comes
and you've
up
gone up and you've used the N-word because it's part of your history.
Yeah, let's
use
a different
story.
comic. Not even me personally, but like it's a trans, queer, black, Latina, born as a man, transition to a woman.
You're describing a real person?
I'm just saying that if that sometimes
I was like, I don't know this comic.
If that person got up and did a set, then there might be a cis white straight dude later that comes up, and now he's like, well, because that person made slurs against all these people, now I get to, like that happens. I've seen this happen at show, not that person and not this person, but specifically. Right. But you know what I'm saying? Like the whoever comes up and follows will use the previous people's set at sometimes if they're asleep at the wheel.
Well,
they'll say that like, entitles me to say it now.
I think asleep is a bad phrase. I get what you're doing there, because woke and asleep. But it's almost more like they are eager to do it, and so they're like, license.
Well, the truth is they're trolls, right? I mean, that's what they
Right.
are. They're a troll. They're just.
Well, you're only doing that to get a reaction.
Yeah, yeah. It's not even really funny. They're just saying it because you're not supposed to say it. Yeah. And
Well, I don't like that.
yeah, that happens a lot though. A lot of people. You've been to open mics, man. People just get up there and they just say stuff because you're not supposed to say it, and then they're like, that was funny, and it's like,
oh no, yeah,
no, that was triggering.
I've talked about my friend who started comedy during the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
and she's your friend too.
Mm-hmm.
I won't name her name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I try to tell her things like this, like
Mm-hmm.
there are. And actually, who was I talking to the other day? I was talking about kind of because she's noticed it. She calls them edgelords comics. Edgelords comics.
Yeah.
And I was telling somebody, it wasn't her actually. It was I was talking to someone else, and they were like, "Well, such and such got laughs," and I was like, "No, such and such made everyone uncomfortable."
Yeah.
And a biological response when someone's making people uncomfortable trying to tell jokes is, one, to laugh nervously.
Mm-hmm.
Two, sometimes it's not a nervous laughter, but sometimes it's like, oh, well, they want me to laugh, so I'll laugh and then we'll stop.
Yeah.
But they might not stop if I don't laugh. So yeah, I mean, I've been to those mics. I've heard those comics jokes. I was just talking about one the other day. What was it? A Himmel name? I don't give a fuck. Lucky. Do you remember Lucky? He would go to Comedy Spot, and he had like a jacket with like dollar signs all over it.
No.
And he would pay. He'd try to pay money to the host to get on or get earlier.
No.
And he would just slur racially, and he was sexist, and it was like, that's not comedy.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And here's the thing: is I will acknowledge that you can write a joke, that you can write a joke that has slurs in it, and the joke can be funny. And you can write a joke that has slurs in it, and it needs the slurs in order to be funny, But usually if you need the slurs, it's because the joke is about the slurs. It's not about the people, that the slurs are about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because you can always use different words to describe people.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of like racist or sexist or homophobic jokes, they're just really basic formats. That's like, I saw somebody do one about Dungeons and Dragons. They were like, what's the difference between a pile of dead halflings, which are hobbits, dead halflings, and a pilot and a flaming dragon shit? Well, I don't have a pile of flaming dragon shit in my barn, which is like an old ass racist joke that they would just use it for any people that were devalued. Yeah. But you can just, any joke like that is really hella lazy, because it's just like, oh my God, you said something terrible about these people. That's really what it is. And you're saying, I think it could be laughter based on a pent up like frustration from an actual person that's a bigot, or it could be laughter of like, oh my God, I can't believe they said that, and I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the quality of the that's a good point you made though. The quality of the laughter is actually important to me. Like, I will admit, you can get laughs with stuff that I would never say.
Right.
And but I really do think where it's coming from is important. The quality of it. How long can it be sustained? Can I keep building on it? Because if I can't keep building the story, because how far can you go? You're just going to keep saying more and more slurs that are disconnected. You can't really build. I like narrative jokes, though, so that's a problem. That's my problem.
Okay. So, that was a long answer to how have you been?
Yeah. Yeah.
But so
I still have autism is a shorter answer.
For sure. Which is also a spectrum.
Yeah.
Right on. So you have this show. It's for everybody. It highlights performers that are diverse and maybe marginalized by the greater scene.
Yeah.
We'll use that word. And it's commendable that you've created this, and I'll say that, and I mean that. It's commendable that you've created this avenue for people to get to do this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's entertaining enough that people of all types, all orientations and races and religions and genders enjoy watching it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very cool.
Well, thank you. I just want to say this too. I think it's a better way to summarize it in my mind. or a way that's just basically sort of, it's for anybody that's for inclusivity. You know what I mean? So if you're a cis white, you know, straight dude, and you're about inclusivity and funny, because it's mostly funny. It's not a seriously toned. Because I run a game of Diversity in Dragons. It's my own system, but it's kind of based on D&D. But yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of guys in the audience, straight, white, and sometimes older dudes that are there. And I think what it is that they see the value in including other people's perspectives, and may have experienced it as well. You know, because they may be gamers that are inclusive and on the, you know, they like having other people involved, and it's really cool to have. They
probably it felt awkward when the other gamers were using, you know, the hard R N-word. Yeah. Well, they were like, I don't want to play with that guy anymore.
Well, like I said, when I just let white people do white people, like I just let the other white gamers, you know, argue with the supporters of these people. You know, I didn't want to get involved. I'm like, you know, not my monkeys, not my circus. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't play with these dudes.
I have a better phrase.
Hey, what's that?
It's not my cat. It's not my litter.
Not my cat.
My kitty litter. Yeah. I'm not cleaning that kitty litter because it's not my cat.
Yeah, just if they want to feel responsible for these dudes who are trying to police gaming and who's woke and whether woke people are allowed or not, and say woke people are, I'm like, dude, I'm woke. You know, I guess by your definition. So you're not even gonna listen to me. So why am I gonna bother? You know, I mean, you know, you're gonna look at my profile picture that says, you know, Black Lives Matter or whatever, and discount anything I say anyway. So what the fuck, you know?
So your game, your show, your game show,
my game show, it's
game
a game show.
Okay. It is a game show. Yeah. Your game show is diversity. Dungeons and Dragons can take what, months to complete a campaign?
Yeah,
for the uninformed, a campaign.
People play like 2 to 8 hour sessions.
But a campaign is like a full
series
game.
Of sessions. Yeah,
right.
You'd show up. Yeah.
So it's almost like tennis is multiple matches, multiple sets make up a match.
Yeah, well, and really the I think back in the day when we were kids, like the ideal is it never stops. Like you're having so much fun that this game keeps going on. You know, the longest one I've been in was a year. I was in a game for a year.
Unless you're playing with, you know, Mike, the N-word using white guy.
Yeah.
You don't want to play a year with him.
Yeah.
Sorry if anyone's named Mike. I'm just picking a random name.
Yeah. Not all Mikes are racist. Not all
Bartholomew.
Not all Mikes.
On there. So it can take forever.
Yeah.
It can take months. 2 to 8 hour sessions is one session, and that could be one out of hundreds in a campaign.
Right.
Okay. Your show is done previously in what, 25 minutes?
Yeah, it went from 25 minutes to 45 minutes, and now it'll be like 50 minutes, an hour. Yeah.
Congrats on the time.
Well, the fans wanted more. They wanted us to have a show that's longer, more traditionally, like the length of a traditional game. But I think compact is maybe better.
I think it is. I've watched your show a couple times, and as a producer, I think a good one. I will say, I mean, you know, gotta know your strengths. I will say I think you could get away with like a 90-minute show, because I think your crowd is set up for 8-hour campaign, right?
Yeah.
So
that's
like,
true. Yeah.
You could probably do a 3-hour show.
They're conditioned for long attention
span.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if your performers would want to. I don't know if the venue would want you to. So it's probably better to condense it. How do you condense a 8-hour game into 25 minutes?
I had to design my own system. So like I literally cut out all the stuff in Dungeons and Dragons that generates arguments. You know, because like a lot of the reason a game can take a long time is because the players are arguing in defense of their thing. They'll say like, you know, can I do this? And then the game master's saying, or dungeon master in D&D, no, you can't. And then the player's like, well, it says on page whatever that I can. And then the dungeon master's like, no, you're reading that wrong. There isn't any of that. I don't have a book. For one, I wrote all the rules are I have them on like a sheet in my little scroll case that I have, you know, but I
mean, the size of the scroll case doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's true. It's how you use it.
And sometimes the scroll grows and, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's not always
But I mean,
big.
Yeah, I just basically had to cut it. I designed the system to be so that we could do it in a shorter period of time. But sometimes, you know, just out of, you know, through the play, I've had to cut it short. Just to make a decision that normally in a game you would just let the players meander and whatever. I do have to implement what they call railroading sometimes in a real Dungeons and Dragons game, is where you just force the characters to do something.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get comments here from people wanting your advice dating. Like you found a way to take out all the arguments.
Oh.
Yeah. Parents. I was looking for a joke there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I see. So
Yeah.
not.
No, yeah. You found a way to remove arguments.
Well,
So,
also I have a microphone, and only these other 3 people have a microphone, so that limits everything. A lot of the input but I basically I wrote a game and I streamlined it so there's only 3 stats, instead of 6, and there's no derivative stats. I just roll everything against the stats. In D&D, it gets pretty complex. Each stat influences something else. That you can have these skills and whatever. I don't do all of that. But we still roll a die. We have a die that we roll, and all this other stuff that's very similar. So it has the same feel. I had to kind of. It's probably the only role-playing game that's ever been play tested on stage, I would imagine. So.
I don't know. I'm glad it's coming back, because I think it definitely has. There's a need for it to be on stage and be a live show.
Yeah, that's fun. I like it.
You should.
I was made to do it.
So far be it from me to criticize or compliment or even acknowledge anyone else wearing a costume while doing a show. Because right now I'm looking at the feed on Twitch. I look like the 4th of July.
You do?
Yeah.
It's
Thank
beautiful.
you.
Yeah. You look like you should be in that Miley Cyrus video.
Which one?
Party in the USA.
Oh, Taryn did that song.
Oh, she did? Okay.
If you had made it to brunch, because we talk about brunch a lot on the show, I did a song called "In This I Did 1 2 3 4 5 Sex."
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that song. Who's that?
It's by Upsell.
I'll
play it for you.
Okay.
It's a good song. I did "Firework" by Katy Perry.
No, that's perfect.
But not in this look.
Okay.
Because I was like, no, this is a fun song. Not that that's not a fun song, but yeah. So you wear a costume was my point.
I do. Yeah. Normally I don't cosplay when I game, but for the show I do, because I tried doing it, and I did the very first show I cosplayed, and then the next show I was like, fuck that, it was hot. But then everybody's like, where's the thing? I wore a shirt that said Run DMD, like in the Run DMC logo. But I thought it was hilarious, but everybody else missed the costume. So then ever since then, I've kind of just been piecemealing my costume as I go.
And you can't get away.
I can't get
You're
away
stuck
from
in the costume.
I'm stuck, yeah. This time I'm going to have armor. I actually got, I forget what they're called, pauldrons? Like Romanesque style pauldrons. I didn't used to have those. But yeah, it makes it so my costume doesn't need, it wasn't a lot of upfront expense. I just used what I had. And then as I go, I'm like, oh, I like that. And it's just like $20 here, $20 there.
And that's how you have to do it. I was just talking with someone, a friend of mine who wants to get into drag. Mm-hmm. And like, okay, you don't have to buy all the makeup at first. Mm-hmm. Just, know what to spend money on and know what to kind of skimp on to begin with. And then as you go, you can kind of spend money on everything if you want to. You don't need to, but, it can be an investment. Yeah, or you can piecemeal as you go. Yeah.
Well, and I want to say, this is a rewind too, that before you were talking about, the fact that our shows are similar in the capacity that, they're focused on inclusivity and whatnot. But I will say this, that I have to thank you, because initially, Suzette, your advice to me was invaluable when I first started the show. And because you were one of the only people doing anything like what I was doing, yeah, so thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. I'm going to take a second to tell the audience I didn't know Teo was going to say something so sweet to me. No, it's happened the last couple weeks. People have been saying Yaya, Yaya, my friend.
Yeah.
Yaya made me literally cry on camera by saying something so sweet. So it's it's always, you're welcome. I'm really grateful that I was able to give you advice. Because I really do think there are a lot of similarities between my show Queens and Comedy and your show Diversity and Dragons, more than they both have ampersands.
Yeah.
They both do that though. But I think I think there's a real need for both of them.
I do too.
I think it's both have an element of some people saying, I know what this is, and some people going, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And so it I don't want to say exposes, because that has almost a pejorative connotation, but it introduces something to people that they were unaware of previously, but they might love, which is really cool.
Well, I think it's also interesting because I think we're both kind of, me not so much like I haven't really experienced it exactly, but we both are dealing with like gatekeepers for the thing,
Yes.
the domain we're in,
Yes.
who don't really matter. They think they're gatekeepers, but it's like your opinion doesn't matter. Literally,
Right.
like we're playing this game. We're up here doing this show in drag and comedy. We're doing it. It doesn't matter if you think we belong here. We're here. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like we're doing it, and we're gonna do it. We're gonna have another show after this. It doesn't matter how upset you are by it, or that you're trying to, And I just feel like that's it is needed. It's necessary, and I think it's necessary for younger people coming up that want to be involved in things that they're told they shouldn't be, because it's I would just say, like, I don't know if there's a game out now, Cyberpunk 2027. It's a video game, but it's based on an older pen and paper game, a tabletop game by Mike Pondsmith. When I was a kid, I didn't know Mike Pondsmith was black, because they don't put the pictures of the authors in the books.
Well, and it's also not a traditionally, like, it sounds like a white name.
That's fair enough. Yeah, it probably is traced back to Europe, because most people didn't keep their African names. But like, I think that the thing is too is I don't think he advertised it, because like back then when he authored that game, like I think the original print was in the early '90s or something like that, but you can tell by reading it, retroactively, that this game is the perspective of somebody who's about including everybody, because that game has, like, you roll up your character and you can roll your character, different ethnicities from different countries, and there's a lot of, but when I found out he was black when I was older, I was like, oh my God, it kind of makes sense, that the way he wrote it was different than, like, let's say Oriental Adventures. You know what I mean? Where they're writing it like it's their perspective about an outsider's, the way outsiders are. Mike Pondsmith wrote it like, more like inclusively, like, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying that happens a lot with scripts on television or movies, where guys will write the women characters' lines and write the woman character, and it's like, well, that's not a real woman. That's not how a real woman would act or talk.
Yeah.
But like, a woman wasn't involved in the creation. So reception to your show has been phenomenal.
Yeah, it's made me happy. Like I was worried about it at first, but it's been very positive. Yeah. Good.
And you do your show right now. You're in a campaign. I remember a question I wanted to ask. I'll try to pin that in my head. You do your campaign, and it's the same 3 players.
Yeah.
Do people that come to the show ever ask you if they can play?
I've had a couple people volunteer, basically say that they'd like to play, if there's an opening. That's challenging. I toyed with that idea initially, but it really is like an improv show. But what I'm going to try to do, I would like to publish the actual rules at some point once my life allows for more structure in that way, and I'd like to publish the rules so then people could play Diversity and Dragons themselves, and but yeah, I have had people say they'd really love to play, and but yeah, because we're performing on stage, I unfortunately do have to sometimes be like, oh,
So bringing someone who has no performance background could be a challenge, and maybe not as entertaining for.
Yeah. Well, and there's a balance to be struck, because there's been stronger, because when I was going through different people, there are some people that aren't comfortable because it's out of their element, right? Because Diversity in Dragons is an explicitly fantasy setting, and we make fun of fantasy tropes, and then so they might not be comfortable because of that. That's not their ballywick or whatever, But the other thing is that we're not politically correct. We're not. It's like if anyone, if somebody says something that's not politically correct, I'm not gonna check them. I'm just gonna roll with it, and maybe I'll make a joke about it, like that it makes fun of the thing. Or if an audience member says something, like one time, Bet Saida's character got hurt, and I asked for audience input about what the injury was, and they're like, her titty popped, and then so Bet Saida rolled with it and just kept, but that's kind of, I was kind of like, really, that's like a little bit, but it worked, it was funny, and Bet Saida owned it, so, but I think that's one of the things I need too. I need a balance of somebody who can like roll with stuff, who likes role playing and doing improv in that setting, who's an experienced improviser or comedian. It's a lot to ask of people. So
asking new people to play it can be difficult. Mm-hmm. You mentioned with me, kind of people, younger people. That's one of the things I do is I try to have. And right now, embarrassingly, I don't have an all-ages show happening, but we just got out of the pandemic, so I'm trying to get things going again. Mm-hmm. Do you ever want to, or have you considered starting campaigns with, children, like, teens, where they're playing the same game that your improv and comedy panel is playing?
I haven't explicitly done any public events or anything like that, but I do play with my own kids. We use Diversity in Dragons as the system.
Are they good?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course they're not we don't do it on stage for performance, but I love playing with my girls, because they get to show me, how creative they can get with solving a problem, or I think my kids are brilliant. My daughters are brilliant. But the other thing we do is we draw a world map. We make our own world, and we draw it on a big sheet of paper the way I do for the show, because I have maps that I do, and I hand draw all those. I borrowed heavily from a great map maker from Canada. His name's Dyson Logos, and he has a lot of commercial free, or not commercial free, publicly accessible materials.
Public domain?
It's not quite public domain, but free for use, I guess. And some of them they're license free. You can use them in your own published works as well. But I contacted him because I'd known him online for a long time, and he was excited, at least supported me in doing the show. And I asked him, I would go, can I use this one? Because he goes, yeah, go ahead, fine. But what I do is I blow them up by hand. I look at his little reference map and I blew it up. One of the main cities in the game is Diver City, and that's from a map he drew that was only this big, and now it's this big.
You zoomed in.
Yeah, I zoomed in, but then I also added a lot of stuff, because then as we play the game, when new things get introduced, I add it to the map or whatever, and then. But that's a real fun thing, and my girls are really great at they love drawing maps and stuff like that, so that's fun to share.
Okay.
Yeah, and they helped me color Diver City, and draw some of the things on it, so that's fun to share with them too. But they couldn't actually be at a show because of the
right.
Yeah,
right.
It's not quite PG.
So what's your long-term hope to do with the show?
I don't know. It's one of these things. The show is. I'm still working on that, because for me the show is analog. You know what I mean? I like the live analog vibe of it, but I am working towards having online content that is connected to the show. Maybe using fiction we've created in the show, using performers that have been in the show. But my long-term hope would be to have something that bridges the gap between the live show and digital content.
Not get rid of one, but
keep doing both, because I really like I like gaming in person. I've never really been an online gamer big time. I've not really used Zoom or Roll20 or any of those things too much. I've been invited to some, and I thought about it during the pandemic. But I really prefer gaming in person with people. I like being right there, and that's kind of what I like. I like the show to be. But yeah, I am working on like ideas I think would be great online content that are connected.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, if you have a drag performer one,
Yeah.
I'd like to be part of it again.
Yeah.
I tease, I kid. Producing a show is so hard, and we talk about it sometimes on this show. And I don't think I've ever talked about this, but one of the harder elements of producing a show is who you put on it and who you don't. And so, I'm just teasing, because when you a good producer, which I think you are,
Thank you.
will book the show in a way that even if it's not convenient or realistic or uncertain at the moment, the show will still survive. So I think you're a good producer. Yeah. And who you book is who you book, because you know what you're doing.
Well, and I think I've been really fortunate too, because I have such high regard for Ruben Acosta, Emma Haney, and Betsaida LeBron as performers, and further back, DeJan Tyler and Jason Bargert. All of them, to me, are a class of performer that I just feel fortunate that they said yes. Mm-hmm. When I was first putting the show together, and and then and that's like, I'd say that's like you're saying, producing a show. That's like half the battle's done. Like
when you book it.
Yeah,
it can be. Yeah.
That if the talent's that caliber, if I slip, they'll push me back up instead of just let me fall.
Right.
But there's times where I think especially with improv. Well, it happens in stand-up too. It's just different. It happens in segments. You might book a person and then their set fails, and they crash and burn, and they take they want to take the whole show down with them,
Right.
But in improv, everybody does need to rely on each other a little bit more, like actors in a scene, and so. But yeah, I feel very fortunate. So, but yeah, thank you for saying that, though. I appreciate the compliment.
Oh, absolutely. I don't know if I'd say it's half the battle.
Yeah. Okay.
I think of producing as a 5-tier kind of thing, or 5-tool. Let me say 5-tool, and booking is certainly one of those 5 elements of producing it. And I think you can cover a lot of deficiencies with good booking. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess I was specifically referring to like the quality of the show. That's actually, but yeah, you're of course right. When you're producing a show, you're responsible for. I don't know. What are the 5 things? Do you want to say them?
I stole this from David Shapiro, but booking is one. Concept creation is one.
Concept creation. Right.
So like you conceived and created a show.
Right.
Diversity and Dragons, and then you get into the, if you can get deeper into it, like why did you you'd say to someone like, why do you want to start a show? Do you want to start a show because it needs to exist? Do you want to start a show because you have a venue space and you want to do a show at that venue? Mm-hmm. Do you want to start a show because you want to perform? You started a show because it needed to exist.
Yeah, nobody's really doing what I wanted to do.
Right, right. Or you wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And same thing. No one's really doing it.
Yeah.
So where were we? Booking, concept creation, show running is one. Mm-hmm. Everything basically on game day, everything from 20 minutes before the show starts to 20 minutes after, and then during the show. Communication is another one, I think, is a big part of producing a show. Mm-hmm. Just like emails, like, hey, this is when the show is, or like, this is when we need you there, or like, this is information. And then promotions, I think, is the 5th, and I'm not good at that. Mm-hmm. So.
Promotion is a big part of it.
It is, and I'll give you a compliment back. Now it's just a straight compliments. Facebook. Someone asked me 2 days ago, like producing a show, and they were like, what's a good way to do it, to get people out? And I was like, Facebook ads. Facebook ads are great. Okay, so I'm going to say we've talked a lot, and I'm going to get to rapid fire questions.
Okay.
You probably don't know how much time has gone by, huh?
No, I don't. Yeah.
Oh, 90 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The length of an
Roughly.
ideal show. Okay.
Right. But it goes by fast when you're having good conversation. And you and I, we know this because you're my friend.
Yeah.
We could talk for hours if we didn't put our own glass ceiling on this conversation.
Yeah.
But where can people learn more about what you're doing? Just come to a show, or you mentioned a website earlier?
Yeah.
Does it talk about your show?
Yeah, it's a description. Yeah, there's copy there that describes the actual show. Yeah, it's bigblackdice.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's where they can kind of find information about the show, about you.
Yeah, and it's called that because I use big black dice during the show. So.
Right, because you have to roll something.
Yeah. As
per Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Gameplay.
Oh, that's one of the things that I streamlined. I only use a D20, that 20-sided die. Dungeons and Dragons has 7 different dice.
Oh, I was gonna say, talk to me like I'm a dumb girlfriend.
Yeah. And they're all different shapes.
Not that girlfriends are dumb, but I don't know anything about this world.
Yeah.
So, okay, 7 different kinds of dice in Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, there's a 20-sided, 12-sided, 10-sided, 8-sided, 6-sided, 4-sided. I think that's there's 2 different types of 10-sided. One's for the tens place, one's for the hundreds place. That's if you roll them together to do 100, a D100. And then there's other dice that are more strange, like 2-sided, 3-sided, 5-sided. Those are more rare.
2-sided dice?
Yeah.
That's called the coin.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, basically. Yeah, but there's some people like their set to be complete, and so they want a set that's all the same color, and so they make a plastic weird. There's a couple different shapes they do for 2-sided dice.
Huh.
And usually what it means is that there's 2 sides that are number 2 and 2 sides that are number 1. So it's usually some sort of 4-sided die, generally.
That's the 4-sided die.
Yeah, but a 4-sided die actually has 4 numbers, different distinct numbers on it. But anyway, I only use 1 because I don't have time for that.
That's a 4-numbered die and a 4-sided die. Someone's using a 4-sided die, a 4-sided 2-numbered die.
That's true. Yeah, you can also do D3 using a D6 and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 twice.
I'm sorry, when you say D3, I think of Mighty Ducks 3, where they went to Eden Hall, and they had to play on the high school team, and they weren't the Ducks anymore.
Oh, really?
They were the Eden Hall Warriors, and Coach Bombay wasn't there, and their new coach stripped Charlie of the captaincy. I'm sorry, I really like Mighty Ducks.
Yeah, that's inside hockey.
It's inside Mighty Ducks, and then they brought the show back, so I brushed up. It's all fresh. Anyway, Big Black Dice website.
Yeah.
They can learn about it. And it's a cool show. People should check it out.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you
absolutely.
Should check it out. Come check it out. BigBlackDice.com. I don't know why I just did a shitty jingle.
We can work. We can work on a jingle.
I will work on that.
Yeah.
I want to work towards something that sounds more like the Game of Thrones theme song. I think maybe.
Okay. We can. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get to rapid fire questions. Are you game?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Am I what?
Are you game?
I'm game. I'm totally game.
Cool. Now I didn't. You were a last minute fill-in. Thank you so much, by the way.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
So I didn't prepare, so I'm gonna kind of fumble through this. Okay. Do you? If you were performing tonight, what would your walk-up song be?
Oh, if I was performing tonight, I like Kendrick Lamar, "Blacker the Berry."
Oh wait, hold on. Okay, that's for Kings and Queens. What's your favorite recurring show to perform in?
Recurring show?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, stand up?
Recurring show. You answer how you want.
So the one of the shows I had the most fun doing that stand up, I really love Ngayo's Comedy Burger back in the day, early on. That's always a fun room. I love the room.
Well, that takes care of the follow-up, which is, do you have a favorite venue?
Oh, yeah. I don't know what it's called anymore. It used to be, but it's the way it looks. I like the way it looks. I like doing a show in there. But I think my favorite venue, as far as, that's hard to say. I mean, that's hard to say because I like to perform at a lot of different places just to get, feel. But I like the specifically when you're on stage, the right hand wall at Comedy Burger. This is like fun. It just like
What's on it?
It's like this relief sculpture with lights behind it, and it looks like waves kind of, and I don't know. It's just there's something awesome about that. I think behind you there's like some kind of black and white contrast drawing or something. But I always thought it was fun. I used to like the background at Laughs Unlimited. It looked like a Sesame Street set or something like that. Yeah, and then oh wait, yeah, I'm plugging other venues. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. We talk about other venues in town.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I mean, and you're not necessarily plugging. We're just talking about how Laughs Unlimited had we both like the backdrop.
Yeah, that was fun.
Someone didn't.
I used to like that you come out of the middle of the doors.
Right, you came from the shop.
Like you're like, hey guys.
I know. I was
hey Oscar, what's up? It just
can I have the backdrop, please? You've gotten rid of it. Can I use it?
What happened to it?
I don't know. But if I had a venue, I'd be like, let's do that. Let's use it. Yeah. What's the funniest thing an audience member's ever said to you after a show?
Oh, I thought you were going to say during a show.
Either way.
Okay, well, it's during a show, and I was doing a show at Empire Comics, JoJo Lewis show, and JoJo, there was two girls up front. They happen to be white. It's significant to the story, but they were kind of like, there's hecklers and there's helpers, right? So there's hecklers that are like trying to tear you down, but these women, they were just excited and they were talking through everybody's set, but most of the comics were not interactive comics, and but I think I got up there right after Andre Morton, and so I said, like, you girls are really excited through Andre's set, and I noticed he just kept getting like blacker and blacker as the set went on to try to intimidate you or whatever, but you seem to be eating it up. Like, is this your first time talking to black people? And then they said yes. And that was just ridiculous. It was just ridiculous. And then they just kept talking. But it was fun because I didn't really, at that point I was kind of tired of my material, so just interacting with them,
just doing some crowd work with
them.
Yeah.
And it was kind of unique because outside of Touch a Class, that's one of my favorite venues too. I should have said that. Like Touch a Class is one of my favorite venues in Sacramento.
I just had Regina on like a month ago.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, Regina and I don't know if Andre's still doing the show there, but Rico, Regina, Andre, they do.
I think Andre and Rico and Regina are just going to be synonymous with the mic at Touch a Class.
Yeah.
Whether they're there or not.
Yeah, it's just a really good place to go and like really see, because that room is so honest.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can't go there with your jokes where you're acting like you're so super smart, and like
I've heard.
Yeah, and it's like because some of the jokes are like the people have like that. It's like. I mean, I don't want to diss on any particular style of comedy. I'm just saying that's a good place to go.
I will.
To see. It's just a good place to go to see if you got enough energy. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're putting energy into your material, that's an energetic room. You gotta you've got to project there. You got to believe in your material. You gotta. Or be really another thing is sometimes the room there they don't want to hear stuff, they want to be involved, so you got to be able to shift gears and use a different skill set. It's just such a good place, and so that is one of my favorites as well.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah,
a lot of energy. I've never thought about it like that, but
yeah, you can't just slide in there and just let the jokes drool out of your mouth. Like some people, that's their style. That's fine. If you've got if you've got an understated style, it's probably not going to work in that room. But to be fair, if you've got an understated style, you created a niche for yourself. You know what I mean? You're going to be a niche comic, and you won't work in every room. So, but Touch a Class is a perfect place to figure out. How committed I am to being in that niche. Do I want these people to laugh at those jokes? Because if I do, I need to put some juice on it. I need to. Yeah, you guys woken up? Because I'm about to do a smart joke. Like you can't just like.
I don't know if I would want to say that. Like I'm gonna do a smart joke.
Well, I'm just
no, for sure.
saying. I've been there, but the thing is, I've been told in certain rooms like that, don't do your smart jokes by people, by my own brothers. You know what I'm saying?
People running the room.
Yeah, and it's like not having confidence in the room. But the thing is, you could still do a smart joke, quote unquote, smart joke, air quote. I don't think all smart jokes are really smart jokes. They're usually trivial jokes. Like it's a joke about space or, math or something like that. And the thing is if you're doing a joke like that, you need to have a good setup. That's another thing. Touch a Class will tell you your setup sucks. Because you should be able to set a joke up for any audience. You know what I mean? So if these people don't get it, that's not their fault. You're the one on stage. You're trying to get them to understand you, not the reverse. So if you don't do a good setup and these people don't pick up your punchline, that's like, a teacher blaming the class for failing a test that they didn't even give good, they didn't even give a good instruction on, So, but I love Touch a Class for that reason. Those are good practices to develop anywhere, but Touch is like a place they're just going to be honest, right up. I don't get that. They'll see somebody might say it, like, I don't get that joke. And it's not my fault. I paid to get in here. You didn't, and so, I love that about that. And, but yeah, I'm sorry. I'm dwelling on that one question.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Rapid fire always goes differently.
Okay.
Sometimes it's longer than the interview.
Not this time.
Probably not. I mean, if we go more than 90 minutes with these questions,
Mm-hmm.
then we're gonna have to write, a thank you card to Jesse for being here till Thursday. Your least favorite kids show? You're a parent. You have kids.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Can I go with favorite? One of my favorites?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Because you're gonna ask that.
Maybe.
My least favorite kids show. What's when my kids would turn it on? I don't remember what it was called, but it was the show when my kids were babies. It was for like babies, and they loved it. It's like there's these crayons that are characters in it, and the backdrop would always start blank, and then the crayons would be like, and then they'd like touch different and turn different parts of the.
I think with my niece and nephew, I think I've seen that show.
Yeah, and it's just like, it was just whoever did that show, props. They understood children better than I did because my kids liked it, but I couldn't stand watching that. I didn't feel like it was enriching my kids or anything like that.
Do you have a favorite adult show that's disguised as a kid show?
Oh, a favorite one? I'm gonna admit here, I like the new My Little Ponies. Like that the people that write jokes for that show, like that was one I could sit through. I also like Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. That's a little older, but my kids got into that. But both of those shows, I think the writers they're good writers. They're good writers, and so there's good narrative, and there's good, and then the jokes. My Little Pony has more, I think, like above the board, like it's a joke for the parents kind of stuff, I think, than Foster's Home. But those are probably two of my favorite shows that my kids would watch, and I would actually find myself sitting down and actually going, what's going on with Rainbow Dash? Rainbow Dash is my favorite.
That's a pony.
Yeah, Rainbow Dash is one of the female ponies that she's like the brash one.
I feel like that's a good drag performer name. Sometimes we talk about that on the show, like coming to the stage, Rainbow Dash.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah. I still, initially when bronies were first a thing, I thought like, oh, that's cool. They're making a lane for, male fans of the show. But then when it started turning into like people doing porn based on, like that I was like,
well, that's, what is that, Rule 34, I think?
Yeah. Anything
is going to be made into porn.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird.
Sure. Was that the same answer? Your favorite kids show is the same, is also your favorite adult show disguised as a kids show?
Kind of, yeah. So is the question is, it's a kids show, but it's got adult content.
Basically, yeah. I'm saying this is a show for adults, but they've packaged it as a kids show.
Yeah, I would say, My Little Pony probably is in that. I wish I had something more original. I haven't been watching. My kids are old enough now to where we're toying with watching. They like some anime now, and so they were telling me, Dad, you should check out this episode of Demon Slayer. And I
You
was
say
like,
that word differently than me.
what?
Anime.
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 Yeah. Anime, some people say, yeah.
Oh, you
But
made me feel so
yeah.
white just now.
Yeah, but my kids are kind of getting into that, and so like not a lot of anime is really, Y7, it's or teen even, so we've been kind of playing with the edge of that, because some of the stuff they like, it's horror based or it's got gore. And there's a really one I watched a couple episodes because I couldn't find anything online. It's called Trece, and it's actually about the protagonist is Filipina, and it's in Manila, Philippines,
Okay.
and they use a lot of Filipino lore, which my kids, their mom's family, some of them hail from the Philippines, and so I was actually kind of excited because my kids are getting into horror stuff, but it's a little too above their pay grade for right now. But I'm excited that it got produced because it's pretty cool.
Oh, we got you a follower.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So sweet.
Well, thank you for following me.
Okay.
And actually, I have a page on, if it's on Facebook, I have a page for Diversity and Dragons on Facebook. So if people look for Diversity and Dragons specifically on Facebook, if people want to follow me on there, that would be great.
And they don't have to know anything about Big Black Dice.
Yeah.
Just the name of the show.
Yeah.
Weird transitional question here, because we're talking about kid shows, and you can pass on any of these, but I ask all my guests, do you have a favorite sexual position? Some people just say like on the couch with the TV, so you can be funny, you can say for real. Some people say real.
Yeah, unfortunately I'm super literal, so like.
So you want to pass?
I'm a little embarrassed. Yeah.
You come back if you feel like saying it before we end the show.
I've had some good times on the couch. I'm not gonna lie, but I don't know if I consider that a position. Usually it's doggy. Yeah, on the couch. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's interesting because I just had Justin Elizabeth Sayer, a gay writer, on the show, and I ask my gay guests their favorite position to imagine straight people having sex in, and he said he always imagines straight people having sex doggy style.
Yeah, that's probably, if I'm to be honest, it's probably doggy.
Yeah, no embarrassment there. It's a position.
Yeah.
Sex. It's more embarrassing.
It's very natural.
It's more embarrassing when you haven't had sex in multiple years.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about the existence of brunch?
I didn't understand brunch. I'll be honest, man. I'd been to one brunch before I started going to drag brunch.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess my favorite the thing about the existence of brunch is that drag brunch exists, because I think regular brunch is boring as fuck. Yeah, but drag brunch, I was like, okay, now I get it. This is dope. Like having like something to focus on while you're eating, I guess I shouldn't say crappy breakfast, but when I had brunch before, it was just like crappy breakfast. And then I never drank before. I drink very little now, but I never drank before. So I was like, oh, it's just an excuse to get drunk in the daytime. Is that all it is? Is that true? Like, that's pretty much
an excuse or a celebration of the daytime by drinking.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. Yeah.
Watch your mouth, sir.
Watch my
yeah.
Don't profane brunch.
Don't profane. Yeah, it's my job.
Yeah, but drag brunch made me like brunch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, your drag brunch
Thank
made
you.
me like brunch.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I shouldn't say it's just mine. It's Taryn and I produce it, and
yes.
Apple and Helen are there, and
Taryn is dope. Apple is dope. Helen is dope. Yeah,
and
all of that.
And when you were coming, it was at Punchline and not Badlands where it is now, and so we also had Rosalia and Faye.
Yes.
Yeah. So the OG crew. Thank you for.
Yeah, but I guess usually at a regular brunch, the one I experienced before, there was no like twerk off or anything, like anything like that.
Well, so it'd be interesting to have you come now because we don't have the twerk off.
Oh, there's no twerk off.
There's
anymore?
no twerk off. Yeah, maybe like This isn't it anymore.
Yeah,
I want twerk off with my scrambled eggs.
Yeah, I want to see a 20-year-old get up there and get outclassed by a 65-year-old woman who just puts way more into
Who
it.
just knows how to twerk.
Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna delve into that, but we'll step back. Do you cook or bake?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Which do you like more?
I cook more.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll cook. I'll bake if I have to, but yeah,
But you're bake if you have to.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, and then like during COVID, I got more into just techniques of cooking and whatnot.
Cool.
Yeah, but I don't think I particularly have a dish I'm good at. But
okay.
Yeah, my kids like fried chicken sandwiches, like from restaurants, and I'm trying to perfect frying a chicken breast, like a chicken fillet, so that I can make homemade fried chicken sandwiches.
I'm not much of a cook. Can't help you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll eat one.
Yeah.
DC or Marvel?
Oh, I would have to say Marvel.
Do you have a favorite character?
Black Panther. I don't mean to be stereotypical, but yeah, I'm not a big fan of the comics, actually.
Okay. So the movies.
Yeah, I knew of them because I was a geek, and a lot of my geek friends loved comics. But yeah, but the fact that Black Panther got made and was so good, Marvel. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get Apple to do this super niche themed drag show with me, where we're gonna host it, and it's super niche themed, right? It's called like Apple and Suzette's like super geeky, super nerdy, super themed drag show.
Oh, so you guys are gonna cosplay drag, kind of, maybe?
Yeah, right. Like theme. Like sometimes drag shows are themed, right? Like you've been to brunch when it's been themed. So like this one would be like specifically like MCU. Like don't come as a Marvel character, it has to be MCU. Or like, I mean, name another.
Star Wars.
Yeah, but like not like Return of the Jedi. You know, be a character don't be a character from like Empire Strikes Back. Okay. Like you're out. Like get out of the show.
You should do a video game night, but I guess you'd have to get specific about.
I mean, we could or we couldn't. I want it to be like super ultra themed. Mm-hmm. So I'm down with that.
Be a character from Mario.
Yeah. But which Mario?
Yeah, which Mario?
Mario 2. Okay. If we're at the bar after a show and someone's buying us shots, what are we shooting?
Oh. I don't usually do shots, but I guess I have done a shot of vodka before and it didn't bother me.
Any specific kind of vodka, or?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I guess the good kind. I don't know much. Is Grey Goose good?
That's good. No, that's good.
Goose, yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, good. I did a shot of Belvedere today.
Belvedere?
Yeah, it's another good vodka.
Isn't that a Butler?
It is. I said that actually.
Okay.
I said if it's a Butler and a vodka, I'll drink it.
Yeah.
Because that and Goose are my vodkas that I drink. I'll drink Absolute, and I'll drink a couple other ones, but those are the top shelf ones.
Mr. Belvedere was kind of interesting. It was like America's get back at England. It was like, haha, now you're serving us. Like, I don't know.
You think that's what it was?
Yeah, that's all it was.
It was American propaganda disguised as a sitcom.
Yeah, we're ruling the UK now.
Right.
Yeah, like so.
Someone's buying us drinks at the bar after a show. What are we drinking?
I'm probably gonna get a pastry stout. During COVID, my buddy that I was staying with he's really into drinking, and he said, "Here, try this." And it was the thing that won me over was called a Mexican hot chocolate mustache from Urban Roots, and it was basically a stout beer that tasted like Mexican hot chocolate. And I was like, I could drink this. It doesn't bother me at all.
I don't know if you saw me recoil.
Yeah,
so
I did.
Yeah,
I just kept talking through it.
I accidentally licked the mic. I'm sorry, Jesse. I can clean it. That made me recoil. Mexican.
Do you like Mexican hot chocolate?
Mexican hot chocolate mustache.
So Mexican hot chocolate is a drink.
I know.
Yeah, it's like hot chocolate with cinnamon in it. And then Urban Roots, since a lot of stout beers are brewed with chocolatey notes, they introduced cinnamon.
I don't drink beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't usually either, but
so if someone bought us drinks and that's what you order, then you can have mine. Yeah. You can have my Mexican mustache hot chocolate.
I will take it. It's like $25 a bottle or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Both are yours. This one's important.
Okay.
Okay, toilet paper. Over or under?
Over, definitely. It's got to be over. Unless you got a cat, then I can excuse it. You know, people that have it under for the reasons of cats and toddlers, fine.
Don't have a cat.
Yeah, because if you have a cat or a toddler, they'll do this if it's over.
Well, don't let them in the bathroom.
Oh, you're just saying don't have a cat. I thought
Yeah.
you said don't have a cat. You know, and
Oh,
so you didn't
also,
know.
yeah, no, don't have
but
a
you're
cat.
saying
But I'm saying don't
have a cat.
keep your
'cause
toilet
that's-
paper over.
Yeah, that's more important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And
We're
you're
on the same team. I'm just not as far to
the
the
toilet paper over team.
which way is it, right or left?
You know, okay, so this is the interesting thing. I don't know, but I thought I'd be mad at all the people that said under,
Yeah.
and I'm still like, oh, we can't be friends. But then I found out this is episode 63. Some people are indifferent.
Oh yeah, I'm not indifferent.
They're
I'm
just
definitely-
like chaos toilet paper users.
I will turn it over if
Oh my!
I will. Yeah, I'm a little.
In someone else's house.
Yeah, if I've seen it be over before, I'll make it over. Yeah. Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's funny.
Do you have a favorite comic?
Oh, favorite comic book or comedian?
Comedian.
I love stand-up comedy. Period. Like I'm one of those people who, even when somebody's crashing and burning on stage, I don't get like sadistic joy out of it. But I want everybody to do stand-up. I really do. I want everybody to try doing stand-up comedy because I think everybody has something to say. But I think if I were to like pin it down among my favorite comedians, as you know, performers locally from the local area, Kyrie Shabazz is one of them. Ellis Rodriguez, Regina Givens, Rico the Great. I'm drawing a blank because I'm like, you named a bunch of everybody you named is black. Like,
But I was gonna actually, I noticed, right?
Yeah,
but like,
yeah.
why is that weird, right? Because like, if someone named 5 white comics, it wouldn't be weird.
Okay, so I should not.
And you also
I
named,
guess it's because I want to.
there
be
was a
that
woman.
inclusive.
No,
You know who I neglected? She's on my show, Emma Haney.
Okay.
Oh, they are on my show. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I'm sorry. They are on my.
So there
Emma
you go.
Haney is amazing.
But you are inclusive, right? Because you named a woman, a non-binary person, a lesbian, 3 men.
Yeah, and the men are all different colors. They all are classified as white. I mean blacks. They're all classified as black.
I'm gonna let you say that. Yeah, I'm gonna let you say
they are 3 different colors.
You can talk about the hues of the men.
Yeah, well, there's a thing called colorism. It's
There
a
is
thing
a thing,
within,
I know.
You know, but
I'm just not gonna get canceled talking about it.
Yeah, well, I'll talk about it because
You can talk about it.
Yeah, but like
That's not
yeah.
my line, sir. That's not my line to step. I'm not taking
I appreciate you guys
license.
stepping over that. Yeah.
No, but honestly, those comedians, all amazing. I've booked every one of those comedians in shows that I've produced. And I don't know. I just don't. Straight white guy comedy just doesn't do it for me.
Okay,
so.
well, I am gonna. Okay, my
Are you gonna try?
my brain there.
One?
I love
Okay.
Patton Oswalt. I love me some Patton Oswalt. Like he's a good comic. You know, like and
He's actually a black woman. Did you know that?
Okay, well then all my guilt is
Right.
gone. Yeah, my half white guilt is now.
It's a very
I can fully endorse him.
It's a very elaborate cosplay.
Oh, Ngaio. Why didn't I said I like doing it. One of the reasons I like doing Comedy Burger is Ngaio. Ngaio Belam is amazing.
Had him on the show.
Yeah.
Actually, Regina, Ellis, Emma, and Ngaio have all been on this show.
Oh, Chelsea Bierce.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just haven't seen Chelsea perform in such a long
She's
time.
part of this show every episode.
Yeah,
she
Chelsea
just couldn't
Bierce
make
is
it
amazing.
today.
You guys should watch Chelsea if she's doing a live.
Trust, if they are watching this show, they are very familiar with Chelsea Bierce.
Chelsea Bierce is amazing.
Yeah.
And I feel I don't really do like top 10 lists or whatever, so it's hard for me. I'm just gonna stop. That I love stand-up comedy though, so there's a lot of other comics I probably didn't mention. And I feel really bad.
No, you named the people that came to your head. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think you named some of the best, best comedians.
Lance Woods is another great comic.
You're naming the best comedians
Yeah.
in Sacramento, so you're good. You know, there's.
I would say they're the best comedians in Northern California. Honestly.
Somewhere
Like,
maybe an open micer's watching and they're like, "You didn't name me."
Yeah.
But
Terry
like,
Dorsey is really great if you're in San Francisco. Shut up. Whiteout. Dang it. There's a lot.
who's also black.
Yeah. Tristan Johnson. Yeah, it's very funny.
Now you're just naming comics.
No,
So-
Tristan
so
Johnson
your
is also black. Like, I can't. Oh man.
I mean, it's funnier if I ask you to name white comics you like.
Jason Bargert appears to be white.
Uh-huh.
He looks white. If you look at him, he looks white. Oh, this is fucked up. Why can't this is gonna go?
Okay,
viral.
I can help. I can help you.
Yeah.
Here are some straight white men comics that I like. You ready? Miles Weber's dope.
Oh, Miles Wilbur's great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Paul Conyers is really good.
Paul Conyers is great.
Benton Harshaw is
Benton is fucking amazing.
right. So
Yes.
there you go. There's 3.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank God. Thank you for asking me. I could agree with all those, but they just don't come to mind because I don't see.
And
them very
Jason
often.
appears to be white.
Yeah. But I do this. I'll do shows with Jason. You know, like I've done shows with Jason. I don't do really. I've done Miles show. I've done a show with Miles though. Oh, I really like Sean Boyles out of the Bay.
Okay.
Yeah, Sean Boyles is really great. I don't know if he's white. He has dreadlocks, but he might be mixed. I don't know. Oh, I think Sean is Mexican and Irish. Anyway, I noticed. Here's something that's weird. I noticed a lot of comedians that present as white that I really enjoy. It turns out that one of their parents is not white. So then I feel bad. That like I don't know. Like
I think maybe you're, as a mixed person, maybe you're drawn to the shared experience of other mixed people.
Yeah, well, I do think like being an outsider, like if you feel like an outsider your whole life, then like whatever it is in your comedy, that's going to appeal to me. So like, Jason Anderson. I like Jason Anderson. It's very funny.
It's a white guy.
He is a white guy.
Not a straight white guy, but
He's
a
not
white
straight.
guy.
Yeah.
He will tell you he does gay things.
And he doesn't have a beard.
He does sometimes.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
How dare he?
I know.
And he has a couple D&D jokes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite drag queen?
Favorite drag queen aside from Suzette?
I would not say I count as a drag queen.
Oh, because you're a princess.
Mhm.
Okay. My favorite drag. I don't do top 10 lists. Taryn fucking murdered. I saw this one number, and I can't remember the song, but it involves the bit involved donuts.
So Sweetest Taboo.
Sweetest Taboo.
Yeah.
That's Sade, donuts, fucking Taryn, murder. Like that was one of the best.
That is a Terran standard.
Yeah, that was brilliant. So Taryn Through You, Apple Adams, Bitch I'm a Cow. Like I'm picking like bits, I guess. Like,
you're picking your favorite queens and your favorite number of that queen. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Doja Cat's Bitch I'm a Cow.
I really liked Xena Cybergoth on your
Or
show.
Moo, I believe is the name of the song.
Is that the name of the song?
Moo,
Yeah. Xena Cybergoth made a very good use of the whole room.
At Punchline.
Yeah, Punchline because of her acrobatics, and then Helen Heels is always on point. I can't pick a particular number off the top of my head, but Helen's always very impressive. So I guess I need more than one.
Cool. Do you have a favorite drag king?
I haven't seen a lot of drag kings to be able to name them.
Oh, I know who your favorite's gonna be.
Who is it?
Well, so Emma Haney would like to be a drag king.
Oh, my favorite drag king is Emma Haney.
Well, not yet, and that won't be the performance name.
Well, I know, but I know that that's a goal, and so I just want to get ahead of it. Yeah.
On the show last week, somebody, another drag king's best friend, suggested to Emma the name Dad Bod Jovi. So I think that's the name Emma's
That's pretty funny.
rolling with at the moment.
I like that.
I think she's gonna stick with it.
Dad
'Cause
Bod
she likes
Jovi,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
Dad Bod Jovi.
Yeah.
And just Bod Jovi for
Bon
sure.
Jovi is
Yeah.
kinda funny.
Do you have a favorite drag princess?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, favorite drag princess. Let me think. There's such a wide field. Yeah, Suzette Veneti. Yeah.
Sometimes people are like,
Yeah.
sometimes people are like, are there any drag princesses? Apple was like Chichi Rodriguez.
Yeah.
You bitch ant.
I'm not super passive aggressive.
Do you think I'm pretty?
You're very pretty today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And we're friends, so I think it's a no. But like, just for my ego, like, would you date me?
I am not super excited about blonde hair.
Oh, yeah. That's Suzette Veneti.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. Not your type.
Not your type.
Yeah,
I'm not pansexual. Yeah. So like.
But also, you said I'm pretty and I'm your favorite drag princess.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Still.
Yeah. Just the blonde hair.
Yes. Just the blonde hair. Yeah.
Okay. Teo Morgan. That's all I got.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm gonna interview. We always bring on. I think you know David Shapiro.
Oh yeah, I've heard of him.
You've heard of him?
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of him.
I think you know we're gonna bring him on, talk to him, and he's always at the end in case we want to bump him. So we'll throw it to him. Thank you for your time, and I'll thank you again before we go. But
okay.
Thank you so much for being here. Oh yeah, if you want, whichever you want, you can try to talk to him. Sometimes he's rude to the guests, so.
Yeah, he sometimes snubs me at mics. So
he snubs you at mics.
Yeah.
Psh, what a punk. Okay. Writer, actor, whatever he's doing, failing at David Shapiro. Hi, David. How are you?
Suzette, how are you?
Oh, I'm well. Thank you for asking.
Good.
How are you?
Easier to ask than answer is my answer. It's my stock answer. Workshop that for a long time.
Oh, did you?
Tired.
Look,
I'm tired.
Yeah. Well, look, Teo.
Is there anything you wanna talk about?
Hey, David.
Teo Morgan's
okay.
here.
In sports, weird 1970s-ish final. We got Milwaukee against Phoenix. NBA can't love that. Small markets, not small. I mean, Phoenix is like the fourth most populous city. But who knew that Chris Paul? I guess if you punch enough people in the testicles, you get rewarded with a finals trip when you're in your late 70s. So congrats to Chris Paul for finally punching the balls enough to get to the finals.
Good one, David.
I'm never going to forget that. Oh, alarm. Hold on one second. That makes it sound like he did it to me. He never punched me. I never played in the NBA. But I've seen him do it a lot. That's like his move. Like Chris Paul is Chris Paul, the ball puncher, right? Like, dirty player. And then we got Milwaukee. Now everyone can say Giannis Antetokounmpo. I didn't practice it before I said it. But I got some friends from Milwaukee. They're geeked. So that's really cool for them. I, of course, being from Chicago, and then you yourself are also a Bulls fan for some reason from Pittsburgh. But
there's no basketball team. Leave me alone.
I'm very spoiled when it comes to basketball. I can't ever complain again, right? Like I grew up 8 years old and Michael Jordan's winning his first championship all the way until, 15? And the Bulls had won 6 and cemented themselves as the best team that ever played the NBA. So I'm not mad about it. I can't be mad. I just want to make sure everyone knows Chris Paul is a dirty player, and he hits people in the testicles as often as he can.
Noted.
I
so
agree
that's
with you,
sports.
Sports.
Interesting thing
whatever he
happened
says,
at an
that's
open
good.
mic. I really need to open mic a lot here coming up. And an interesting thing happened. There was this guy, and I guess a couple nights before, my friend had said, just jokingly to this guy, "You're going to quit?" Because a lot of open micers quit. I can't because I don't want people to ever say I gave up, right? Like, so pathologically, I can't. Like, I need to die first. But so my friend told this guy he was going to quit, and the guy got really offended by it and was like, "I won't quit. You don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't know my struggle." And it's like, oh, well, now, I mean, what was just joking, now you've proven you're gonna quit. Like, you definitely are gonna quit. So yeah, that was weird, right? Like, that was weird. And I don't know, a lot of turnover in comedians over the years. So that guy's definitely gonna quit.
I agree.
What else? You know what I'd like to address? My Facebook post. Not that anyone of your viewers is Facebook friends with me.
Probably not.
But I don't want to go to my little brother's wedding, right? Like, I love my little brother, and his fiance seems really cool. Love her too. But I don't want to go because I don't think I belong at weddings. I don't think I can handle it. And so I just mused to my Facebook friend list that I don't want to go. And everyone's like, oh, you'll find a date, and oh, you'll be fine, and oh, you'll be happy, and blah, 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 blah. But what if I'm not? You know? What if I go to New York and I'm not okay, and I'm a mess, and I'm supposed to give a speech, and it's sad? I mean, I'm an actor, right? So I can pull it together. But at what cost of my own mental health must I do this? Also, at what cost of my own mental health must I live? Like, and that's another thing. Someone else, talk about me dying in my mental health. Another person called me last night that I haven't talked to in 20 years, easily. They want me to live, right? Like, okay. Here's a tip for anyone who has a mentally ill friend or a depressed friend. What you want for them doesn't Obama what they want for themselves. Yes, I'm using Obama there instead of Trump because I decided to do that in 2016, and I'm just going to go with it. So it doesn't overtake what they want for themselves, right? So like if someone wants me to live but I don't want to live, I don't care what you want. You're not paying my bills. You're not paying my rent. You're not paying my cell phone bill. You're not paying my electric and gas bills, which also I have not paid for like 5 months. I need to do it.
You really should.
I'd like to do it in person is all.
Why?
I don't. Yeah.
Why?
So if anyone's watching from Smut or PG&E,
They're not.
tell me how to do that because I'd like to do that. I can't go to the check cashing place because you have to have a check stub, and I don't have a check stub because I'm paperless billing. Anyway, beside the point. What I want for myself is most important. And what other people want from me, not as important. I don't know why that's a hard concept for people to grasp, but apparently, seemingly, it is a hard concept for people to grasp. They think that what they want from me is more important than what I want for myself. What I do want for myself is to not be a blubbering mess at this wedding. I also want to really get to some open mics and do better. And this open mic last week was no fault of the host or the comedians or even the audience. It just wasn't. It was a bust night. So I'm really excited. Any word on when open mic is coming back at Stab?
Jesse? Nope, no word.
Okay. Well, that's one of my favorites. So when that comes back, I'd like to go back to that. Luna's another one that I like to do. I like to go to Luna's. I figure I should do about 4 a week, which is a lot for a depressed person.
You could use it
to do.
Yeah, you could use the practice.
So that sucks because I don't want to do anything. I don't even want to do this. I don't even want to log in and talk to you. And it's not you, Suze. Don't take offense to that. But depression is real, and it doesn't get easier, and it just mounts and it mounts and it mounts. I'm living in a fucking time loop. No matter what I do, it's always the same outcome, and people are like, well, change what you're doing. Yes, I know. I've changed what I've been doing a million times. And guess what? I'm where I was 33 years ago. So none of it matters. Really? None of it matters because you're a good person, and you do what you can to make the world better, and then Chris Paul ball punches his way into the finals. See how I brought all that together? So I'm rooting for Milwaukee, no doubt, right? Like, send Chris Paul home a loser. Make him punch, like, in anger. I hope he punches a ref in the balls. I hope it's caught on camera. They're always caught on camera. That's the crazy thing. All of his...
Is David okay?
I'm going to figure that out in a second.
Yeah,
all of his testicular punching is caught on camera. Yet no one ever says anything about it. Because he's good, I guess. I don't know. Is he that good? I mean, he is good. He's a Hall of Famer and all that. But, like... So, anyway, fireworks season. Sit with your dogs, if you can, because it's going to spook them out. And, yeah. I got... Oh, here's mine. Come here. No. Okay, he runs away when I go to grab him. Anyway, not in focus. Now I'm in focus. Anyway, got an open mic figure this out, and got to figure out what I'm doing. If any, I have really impossible standards here. So let's say if any judge, lawyer, doctor, surgeons, one of those, beautiful, want to go to a wedding with me in New York City, where I'm going to be a best man and give a speech and be a disaster and need help being mopped up off the floor, hit me up. My information is below, right, Suze? Yeah. So just hit me up. Tell me you want to go to this wedding and basically be my emotional babysitter. Because all my Facebook friends seem to think that you're out there, amazing woman who wants to date me.
No one does.
With all the fucking baggage that I have. Bleh! Right, okay. I don't know how to... This seems depressing. It's not. Look, I'm fine. Eventually I'll get back to Manny's, which is what the shirt that I'm wearing. So I'm excited about that. And if I do go to New York in September, matzo ball soup at 2 a.m., my favorite thing in the world. Under 10 minutes. Thank you, Suzette. Take care.
Bye, David.
Yeah, bye. Okay. See, rude to the guests, David Shapiro. Anyway, that's the show. Thank you, Teo Morgan, for being here, pitching, pinch hitting and coming in short notice. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
And talking about your show. I hope some people come out to it. It's a great show. Thank you to Jesse. Thank you to Stab. I guess thank you to David Shapiro. Chelsea will be back next week, and we'll have a guest. And I'll see you then, 503, on the 11th of July. Have a good week.